It's time to start modeling this printer now. I want to remind you that this is not my image. However, I'll provide a link to the image if you want to download it and follow along, because I will be modeling against this. It's got some pretty decent orthographic views here. And I'll also provide a link to the original artist's ArtStation page so you can support him as well. Alright, so over here in Blender, I've got the default cube and I've brought in the reference image right there. And I'm going to take the reference image and go S2 to scale it twice. I'm going to take the cube and just move it up on the axes there. And I'm going to move the reference image over a little bit. And we'll just get started on modeling this. You see, when I scaled it twice, it fits pretty nice. I'm going to edit mode and wireframe and SX, scale it in the X, and see just how good it is. That's great. Just like that. Alright, I'm also going to take the reference image and look from the side though, and I'm going to move it backwards. So this is what we have right there. Where did it go? I'm not going to change the depth of this. Alright, so we've got that going on, and it's time. We're gonna do some of the modeling in this video. We're gonna make this this cutout right there for where the printer tray goes. So I'm gonna take this cube and I'm gonna bring it forward, go to edit mode, S to scale, look back and from the front view, pull that down. I'm gonna scale it in the X like this. I'm not going to be using any add-ons. I'm not going to be using Bool tool, I don't think even. I'm going to pull this back to almost halfway. In fact, I'm going to scale it in the Y. And I'm going to pull it back even a little further, just like that. We're just going to be using a plain vanilla Blender for this. Okay, so with that done, I'm going to select the main body and choose Boolean, leave it on difference, and select that and apply. I'm going to take this and hide it. I'm not going to delete it. So we will have our first cut. Let's put on the cavity shader so we can see a little bit better. Look in the front view, Alt H, let's bring that back and go into wireframe. Let's use this piece here that we just used to cut to make this a little bit of it anyhow. I'm going to select the top and I'm going to delete that face, and I'm going to delete the back face as well. And I'm going to delete the front face. I'm just going to leave it like this. Alright, and it's the width of this area here, which is great. So I'm now going to box select here, pull it up to there. And so, you know, we'll be ever so slightly off the diagram, but that's the way it goes. That's fine. Okay. And I'm going to box select here, and I'm going to pull these down so we have this height. And this is what we have here. All right, so now I'm going to go into object mode and I'm going to put on a solidify, and I'll look from the front again, and I'm going to start pulling this, and I'll switch to even thickness, and I'll get the approximate thickness of that, just like that, and that will represent our printer tray. Okay, pull it out a little bit. And it's looking fine like that. It does look a little thick to me, so I'm just going to come back just a little bit. Okay, and with that done, I'm going to go back in and have a look at it. And that's going to be probably okay, like that. Alright, so how about we go ahead and apply that. I come in here and I'm going to add an edge loop. I'm going to look back here and I want to make this indentation, so I'm going to Control B, pull that out to about there, like that. I'm going to drop an edge loop in here. Might pull it up a little bit, and it doesn't go all the way back. Let's see, we can see how far back it goes. You see it goes back maybe, I don't know, to halfway or 3/4 of the way. Just do something like that. Alright, I'm going to come in here and I'm going to select those faces and delete them. go into to edge selection and select that edge, and I want to bring it down, I'll extrude down to this level, so I'm going to switch this over to edge for snapping. I'm going to press E to extrude, and I'm going to pull down, and I'm going to hold control and hover my mouse over there. And then I'm going to select both those edges, F to make a face, and then this edge and this edge, F, this edge and this edge, F, like that. Select it all, Alt-N, recalculate outside, just to make sure we haven't done anything funny. And we've got that piece there. We can now come in and we can take these edges here. We're going to bevel this because those edges are rounded a bit, if you can see down there. So we'll do that. We'll put a bevel on this in a minute. So I'm just going to do this as much as I want. I'll put 5 edges in there. We can add the bevel modifier, and I'll bring it up to 3 and 0.0, 0.015, 0.01. Let's try that. 0.01. See, something like that. We won't worry about shading yet. These corners are kind of sharp. I can come down here to geometry and switch this from sharp to arc, and that curves them a little bit, and that looks just fine. Okay, so let's look from the front in wireframe again. There's this thing here, so let's work on that. Let's come in here and grab an edge, and it's a little hard to see with the bevel on, but let's Shift D to duplicate, pull out and up a little bit, P to break it out, so I have that, and it's already centered. I just want to look at the reference image and see, here, I'm just going to come back to here, this thing here, see if I can tell how thick it is. I think it's this thick, if I can see it right, and it's just like a curved thing. Okay, so, alright, so I can scale that to there, and I can extrude it up like that, and then I'll press Shift Control B to bevel it, and I'll put a few edges in there, and I usually like to do that in vertex mode so I can see how many vertices. So I'll do that again, Shift Control B and pull and roll back. There's 2, 3, 4, 5. I usually like to use 5. That's pretty close to what I need. Let's extrude that out to a thickness like something like that. Maybe the whole thing comes back a bit, I don't really know. Go with something like that. And I'm going to come underneath it, and I'll take this face, and I'm going to pull it down till it makes contact, and then with it selected, I'm just going to delete it. And I'm going to actually bevel this by hand. I'm going to Shift Alt and click these. I can get rid of this bevel, Control B, pull, and I could probably get away with just 3, and then shade smooth. Don't worry about shading right now. I'm putting on all these things. So the other thing that's on there is there's some kind of design here. I think I'm just going to do 3 vertical sort of lines. I don't know if I'm going to cut down anymore. Let's see. Do I want to do that? Might I want to do that? I might. Let's try it. Why not? Control B, I'll pull, do something like this maybe, and cut it up. How far? Where does it go? I guess it goes close to the end of that. So let's not put that in. And where does it start? It doesn't. I don't know if it goes from end to end. Maybe I could do another one here and have to. All right, maybe we'll do this. Do another one of those things. Let's hide that, just like we did a minute ago. Hopefully I won't lose my bevel when I do that. I got edge snapping on, E, come down and snap to there, and fill that up, fill that, fill that, bring that thing back. It's still okay. Kind of still want to do something else in there though. Yeah, maybe I'll put a line on the edge of that, a line on the edge, and one in the middle. So why don't we take this piece here, Shift D to duplicate it, just pull it up, scale it in the X. Let's break it out. it's going to be a little weird if it comes all the way down to there, I think. I'm not sure. Let's extrude down, actually, and get rid of that face right away. And then pull this down and see how she's looking. I think I want it not in front of this. So what if I brought it out to here? And we'll, I'll push it in there. I'll get rid of that face. And I'm going to slash key to focus on it. And I'll get rid of that face. And I'm actually going to get rid of the bevel because I'm going to bevel this by hand. Just with those two edges there. And Control B and 3. And shade smooth is fine. So that's not necessarily where it's going to go. Or is it? I don't know. Maybe just a little bit to the side of that. And let's see if I pull it down. And 3D cursor's there, eh? So what if I mirrored this over to there? And what if I then Shift D to duplicate? What if I had 2 more down lower? What if I did that? Does that look dumb? Yeah, you know what? I'm not sure I like the edge ones here. So if I get rid of those and I just keep those, that looks like something. Okay. And there's more to do on this. For the moment, I'll shade it smooth. Okay, fine. I'll go ahead and I'll add some of these things, weighted normal and normal's auto smooth. And I'll do the same for this one. Weighted normal, normal's auto smooth. Just make it look a little bit better. I'll fix that up later. I don't want to waste too much time on that. So I've got that. Now I'm gonna have trouble cutting through this, but I do want to do a mirror. So I'm going to put an edge there, and we are going to force cut this thing, if that makes any sense, which it doesn't. So let's just find, there's that point there. So I'm going to use the knife tool and press A to constrain it. And I'm just going to cut up. I guess it's going to come up to there. And look from the front now with the knife tool. A to constrain it. I didn't get it there. All right, let's do this. Let's do it here. A, we get, there's the center there. Let's see if I can grab this one and press J and it cut through the rest. And hopefully that's not quite straight. So let's take that and scale X0. And that's fine, I think. Let's get rid of this side, 3D cursor there. Let's hit the mirror and clipping. And we're a little bit off here. So what I'm going to do is grab this stuff here. Clipping is on, so it's going to drag it in so it makes contact. All right, so we've got that. And the other stuff is here, right? So let's just double check that. It still looks okay. All right, so the main thing that I want to achieve in this video is going to be these cuts and to get the top and the bottom piece. So here is how I think I'm going to do this. I'm going to select those and just focus on that. Did I do it? There we go. All right, so here's what I want to do. I want to drop an edge loop right in there, and that should be that edge loop. Where'd it go? Let me find that. Okay. And that is roughly where this curve is going to be. All right. And so I'm going to go ahead with that position there, and we'll carry on. And then we'll make sure that this fits. All right. So here's what we're going to do. Looking straight on. I need to be able to see the top and all of this. So zoom in as best you can. With the knife tool, I'm going to click here. A to constrain, come out to about here, and straight up to there, spacebar. So we have that cut. We don't have the curve, but we're going to get the curve later. Now, press 7 to look from the top. There's the vertex. With the knife tool, A to constrain to the back. I'm going to come around to the back. I'm going to hide that. H to hide. You're back into edit mode and Control 1 to look from the back. This is the back side, so knife tool, A to constrain, right down to the bottom. So we have that. Alt H to bring, I guess Alt H to bring that back into edit mode and wireframe. So we have a cut that goes up and around the back. We now need this one here. So I'm going to use the knife tool, click around here between the black and the beige, A to constrain, come right through there to about here and up. We might decide to widen this later, we'll see. Okay, so let's just have a look at what it does. We've cut from here through this one to here. We're going to come up and back a little bit past halfway, I think. All right, so I'm going to look from the top. My 3D cursor is halfway anyhow. And I press K for the knife tool, click on that point, A to constrain, past the 3D cursor, click, and over to here, to that point, and spacebar. Okay, now, this part is curved. This part is curved and this part is curved on this. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to select this point, and this point. Those are the points where there should be a curve. And I'm going to bevel. And I'm just going to do it on my own, not really going to worry about the diagram. Shift Control B, pull. There's 3 points. I want 5. Like that. All right. If I look at this, right, you can see there's my point there. I'm going to actually just hide that. And I'm going to look from the back. And I'm going to do another cut here with my knife tool, about there. Sort of A to constrain to there. So I've got that. And what's going to happen is I'm going to just go to face selection for a second. The front is going to be, or the top piece is going to be all of that. All right, to match up with this thing here with the two sides. There's the front and there's the back. So that's what we're going to be going for in a moment. Now I'm going to create the grooves. And this is just the way that I decided I want to do this, and we'll see how it goes. All right, so in edge selection, Shift Alt and click this edge. Shift Alt and click this, and this goes down there, and this, and this. I don't want these, and I do want that. Those are the edges that I want to select. Right there. All right. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to give a little bevel, a very small bevel to make a little space in between. Then I'm going to extrude it down. I'm going to use E Alt S in just a moment. So first of all, Control B, pull. Roll back to 0 so I have just 2. Something like that. Now I'm going to stop at that point because I want to come and look at this. And I don't really like this arrangement. It's probably not that bad for what we're going to do, but I'm just going to fix it. I'm going to go into vertex mode, using the knife tool, A to constrain, come across, use the knife tool, A to constrain, come across, and then I'm going to press 2 for edge selection, select both of those, and dissolve edges. And I just prefer that. All right, and there should be 1 or 2 more. Let's see where they are at. So not there. All that looks, pretty quad-ish, if that's a word. It's going to be around here where that one is. All right, so that's Control 1 to look from the back. 1 for vertex, K for knife tool, A to constrain, done. And A, spacebar to end that, and dissolve edges. So that's that right there. All right, now we're going to have our work cut out for us, although it won't be too bad. We're going to, in face selection, we're going to Shift Alt and click at various points in order to select all this. So Shift Alt and click, And just look that you get everything, and then just shift and click. We have all of that little space that we made. Okay, now it's time. Now sometimes what I would suggest you do is copy this whole thing and pull it over. All right, but I'm just going to go for it. All right, E, Alt S, pull. Pull it in a way so it doesn't have to be too much. Before letting go of that selection, I'm going to suggest that we break this out. P, break it out. And that's a whole nother thing. I'm just going to hide that. That leaves us the top and the bottom piece. Now we're going to go back into edit mode. I'm going to select this and this, hold shift, this and this, and this. That's going to be it for the top. Of course, this is going to be mirrored over to the other side. But we've extruded down, so we have faces down here. So I'm going to go Control plus one time and P to break that out. I now have the top, I have the bottom, and Alt H, I have the inside part. Now I'm going to try a bevel on here now. I'm going to bring this up to 3 and 0.02. Let's try. That may be too much, but we'll leave it like that for the moment. In fact, so let's just focus on that. All right. Aside from the bevel, that's our top piece that we can carve some buttons in. We'll make the part where the paper goes or comes out or whatever. All right, we'll do that in a bit. We're also going to angle this in a bit. But I want to focus on this piece here. We're going to want to get our bevel back. But first of all, we are going to, actually, sorry, I do need all this stuff here. Let's focus just on those slash key. And I think I can look from the back and still see through, yeah. I want to create a little indent here, this cutaway here. We have the cuts there. So I want to do this one. Move it roughly like this. Okay. This right here. So I want to do a cut here. I'm going to drop an edge loop in, look from the back, and pull this down to the approximate height of this inside spot. I'm going to bring an edge loop out to there. All right. And now I'm going to just push this in a little bit. I don't really know how much, but I'll do it that much. Now, I'm going to get rid of the floor. And that's going to help. Let's pull this back now and get it out of the way, actually. I'm going to just focus on that. This is our bottom piece along with that, and we need to get a bevel going on this, but I think we're going to have some trouble. Let's just see if a bevel will take on any of this. It's actually going not too badly. I'll put that up to 3. I'll make this 0.02. We don't have as much bevel as I would like, and part of that is we're gonna have to come in here, and I'm going to delete that face, and that right there has helped us. All right, so sometimes there's a little piece of geometry that's messing things up. Now let's also see this is relatively sharp. Let's try coming down here, geometry, arc. Now you may not like how much bevel there is on here. I can always change that. I just want to see where we're at so far. All right, now we're going to put a floor back on this so that I can bevel the bottom edges here. I can't bevel that. So let's have a look at this and see if there's any way we can simply, I don't need the floor permanently. Let's try and see if we can get a floor just on there. I just made a face there. Now I can grab that edge. I don't really need to bevel it based on the diagram. I can look at the diagram. I'm just going to do this curve, so I'm going to come back to here. Okay, we could do it from looking. And I'm not on the reference image anymore, so I'm just going to do this and roll. I guess I had the backside in there. Now, did I give it 5? I did give it 5, and that's basically what I want. But I've lost my bevel again. And so what I'm going to do, actually, is I'm going to delete those faces once again. And my bevel has come back. Because no one's going to see the bottom. And I may have to make an adjustment with this stuff here in a bit, but we're doing okay. I think the last thing I'm going to do in this video is we're going to do the bevel. So let's select this, and I think we're going to want that middle piece and that slash key. Let's see if I got all those. All right, so remember the inside was a separate object right there. What I'm going to do is I want to bevel this and give it a curve so that it looks like this. And so I'm going to select this piece and that piece, and I'm going to go into edit mode for all of them. I'm going to turn off the bevel. Actually, I may have to do that individually. Turn off the bevel, and I don't think this one ever had a bevel. Okay, select all of these pieces again. Okay, this one, and this one. Go into edit mode. 2 for edge selection. Shift Alt and click here. And that didn't do us much good. We didn't get very far, and we don't want any of this, so let's do that again. Select here, and we can hold down Control. No, that's not going to do any good. Let's just Shift Alt and click on these edges here. Make sure that you get all of the edges going down into the groove, including this one, and over here, including this one and this one, but you don't want any going down the side. So let's see how that is. Again, I'm doing this off the diagram. Control B, pull, and I want to have 5 segments in that. And I'm just going to do this by eye, like that. I want some room here for the buttons. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Looks like everything's okay. We have this. Let's come back here now, put the bevel on. Put the bevel on this one. Now there's no bevel on this one. Let's just shade smooth. And that should be okay. Might be flipped though. Let's shade smooth this one, and be prepared for some shading errors. The mirror's still on there. There's the bevel. Let's put on weighted normal with normal's auto smooth, and let's just add that for good measure on this one as well. Weighted normal and normal's auto smooth, and this is what we have so far. Let's make a quick change over here. Let's switch to both, drag these up. I think it'll just look a little bit nicer, although we may see some banding that won't be in any render. All right, now at this point, if you think that the bevel is too much, you can come back to the bevel, try 0.01, same thing on this one, and 0.01. I will go ahead and leave it there. I won't worry about the tray for the moment. All right, make sure we are saving. Let's think about maybe the tray thing there. And for this, we're just going to look at it here. I'll look at it over here and do something. So it's cut in, it slopes down. The back is straight, however. Not going to worry about this line right there. We'll think about stuff like that later in this thing. So let's see what we can do here on this thing. Let's see. So we have a mirror on this. I can't drop an edge loop yet, but I can select it all and then go mesh bisect, and drag an edge down, and it's not straight. SX0 to straighten it. Pull it out a bit. Before I do anything else, I'm going to shift D and duplicate it. I'm going to pull it over. I'm going to work on this one now. So I've got that section there. I can't go across either this way, so I will do that again. Mesh, bisect, and I will come across like this. Scale Y0 now to straighten that. And then I can decide what to do here. I can put an edge loop there, so I could take this. Let's see. I don't want to do it there like that. What I'll do is I'll use the knife tool to cut from here, A, to there. And I'll just start doing this and then deciding if I like it. So I'm going to extrude down, push this down like this. And then I'm going to take this edge and I'm going to pull it up, but not right up to the top. I want a small lip there. I'll do that. And then have a look at it and look at the diagram and see what I think about it. So it starts about, if there are 1, 2, 3, 4, there's 6 buttons here. It starts about 2 of the 6 buttons. It is about a quarter of the way up the button panel, if that makes sense. And so, you know what? I think that, and how far back does it go? Yeah, it leaves a nice, almost an equal distance in the front and in the back. You know, I don't think I have a real problem with this as it is, although I might take it back just a little bit like this. So we still have our bevel, and we now have that. We do have, oh, hey, arc. It'll help a little bit. Okay. So that looks okay. Let's keep working on this one. But actually, it goes down deeper though, doesn't it? So I'm just going to select this and just going to pull it down. All right, so that we can get some stuff in the back there later. I could adjust that more another time. I don't need to do that right now. Let's have a look, however, at this and the button panel and decide what to do. This is not going to be geometry. This is texture. All right, but I'm not sure. I kind of think I want to do it in geometry, like the indent and 6 buttons, which will end up looking a little bit different, just because I know I'm going to lose some of you when I get into the Substance Painter stuff. And so I might as well do, you know, as much as I can with you, within reason. You know, and so let's just do a little bit more, and then we'll leave it at that. So let's see, the mirror's still on there, and I want the mirror to be working for this. Is the mirror on? What am I saying? Okay. Let's go ahead. We'll select this. Bring the 3D cursor there, and I'll bring in a plane, and I'm going to move that 3D cursor in a moment anyhow. All right, and I'm going to grab this edge, scale it in. I want it away from the edges, and I want it up to around there, and then down to here, not on the curve itself, or not on any, you know, and they can always come in here and look, just make sure. Okay, I don't want that touching there. All right, anyways, back to here. Grab that piece. I'm just going to bring it up a little bit. All right, we're going to use this now to push into here. Let's recalculate outside. At this point, I'm going to come in here and select something central. Bring the 3D cursor there. Set the origin to the 3D cursor, and I'm going to mirror this over. And it's just a question of rounding if I need to. It's not really rounded. All right, I tend to round everything. So let's just leave it alone and see if we can keep some of the bevel. We'll probably lose some, but we will see what happens here. Now, is everybody facing the right way? Yes, at least for this. Okay. So let's go ahead and select this. and let's add a boolean. Let's drag it to the top, and let's select this. Don't be too concerned if the bevel starts to go, which it did. I'm going to apply that, and I'm going to take this, and I think I will delete it. Now I'm going to take this, and if I push it down a little bit more, look, my bevel starts to come back a little bit. So I'm just going to push it down a little bit more. Got them on both sides. And I will take that face there and make buttons out of it. Shift D. Scale in the Y. Just start getting something kind of square. I think they're square. Scale in the X just a little bit. Let's break it out though. P to break it out. All right, let's just have a look at those buttons. I mean, they look square to me, anyhow. Okay, I'm going to scale it down a little bit so it looks like it fits. We may be changing the scale of these in a bit. So I've got that. I'm going to extrude down like this, and I'm going to delete the bottom face. Now, the bevel's on it, and it might seem a little bit odd with that kind of bevel. And this is often why I will do my own bevels. You start joining stuff and not applying it, it gets all weird. So I'm actually going to bevel this by hand or manually or whatever, like this, and Control B. I want my 5 segments. I'll do the top, but with just 3, and I can probably get rid of that. Sometimes you'll need it for shading, but that's fine for the moment. Okay, the next thing we'll do is I'll add an array modifier in the, I think it's going to be -1. We might go for a little bit more than -1, and I want this as 6. Let's see how they are fitting. Close, but not quite. So I'm going to just S to we'll scale it, not that way. Let's scale it in the Y, SY a little bit. Just pull them back. And you know what? I think that might just be fine for how they end up looking. You know, you can always scale them out if you want, move them, do whatever you want, but that's good for the moment. Select those two. And let's move this guy back in as if we're building it and popping it on. And if it's a little off, then no problem. You can pretty much tell by these lines. So let's see how that looks so far. Let's hide that. And this is what we have. So we definitely have more work to do, but this is a good start in my opinion. All right, I hope I went at a decent pace and I didn't lose anybody. Let's select it all, or select just those and recalculate outside. Okay. All right, that's good for now. We're going to continue in the next video. Take care, and we'll see you soon.